नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी आशतदेहतारिणी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे, गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय, गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय, गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय, राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय, राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय, राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Giridhari, Radha Giridhari Radhe. Jaya Radha Giridhari, Radha Giridhari Radhe. Jaya Radha Gopinath, Radha Gopinath Radhe. Jaya Radha Gopinath, Radha Gopinath Radhe. Jaya Radha Ras Bihari, Radha Ras Bihari Radhe. Jaya Radha Ras Bihari, Radha Ras Bihari Radhe. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari, Radha Kunja Bihari Radhe. Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari, Radha Kunja Bihari Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha Bhakti Bihari, Radha Bhakti Bihari Radhe. Jaya Radha Bhakti Bihari, Radha Bhakti Bihari Radhe. Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra. Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra. Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathagami, Nayana Pathagami Bhavatu. Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathagami, Nayana Pathagami Bhavatu. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Gurudev. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन, यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरावनचारी, यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरधारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरधारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। बोलो हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं, देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया, भगवतीम् उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Welcome everyone in Bhagavad Gita class. So we have finished chapter 11. Now we'll discuss chapter 12. So we'll recite the verses with translation and then we'll start discussing each sloka, followed by Mangalacharya. Chapter 12, Devotional Service. 12.1. Arjuna uvacha evam satatayukta ye bhaktastvam paryupasate ye chapyaksharam avyaktam tesam ke yoga vittama. Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in the devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested. Sloka number 2. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Mayaveshya Mano Ye Mam Nityayukta Upasati Shraddhaya Paryopetaste Peta Te Me Yukta Tamamata. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their mind on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. Sloka number 3 and 4. Ye tva aksharam anirdeshyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatragam achintyam cha kutastham achalam dhruvam. संनियम्य इंद्रियं ग्रामं सर्वत्र समबुद्धयः ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रताः. But those who fully worship me, the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone. Such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. Slok number 5. क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखं देहवद्भिरवाप्यते. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. Sloka number 6 to 7. ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः अनन्येनैव योगेन माम ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषाम् अहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्युसंसारसागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मय्यावेशितचेतसाम्. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Slogan number 8. मय्येव मन आधत्स्व मयि बुद्धिं निवेशय निवस्यसि मय्येव अत ऊर्ध्वं न संशयः. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. Sloka number 9. अथ चित्तं समाधातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम् अभ्यासयोगेन ततो माम इच्छाप्तुं धनंजय. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च. श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने. नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णव्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Welcome everyone once again in Bhagavad Gita class. So we are in chapter number 12, devotional service. Sloka number 1. Arjuna uvacha evam satata yukta ye bhaktansa tvam paryupasate ye chapi aksharam avyaktam tesam ke yoga vittamah. Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? So, Arjuna, so this is chapter the devotional service, chapter number 12. Here, Arjuna is asking question to Lord Krishna that how to differentiate between bhakta, devotee, and non-devotee, to whom to hear and how to believe that who is perfect. Okay, so now at this point, Arjuna is getting confused. Okay, he is not confused. Actually, this is the all Krishna Leela, gave in mercy of Krishna. He wants to say further in Bhagavad Gita. So, in the universal form, chapter 11, we have seen Arjuna freed from illusion after hearing most confidential instruction, fully accepts Lord Krishna as Supreme Personality of. So, whatever doubt was there in Arjuna's mind, once he saw universal form of Lord Krishna, he started believing on Krishna. His faith is fully on Krishna. He is completely Krishna consciousness, and he asked Lord Krishna that, "Oh Krishna, please show me your two-handed form." Then, upon requesting, Krishna came into his four-handed form, and then finally two-handed form. While two-handed form is most confidential, that only devotee can see two-handed form, they can associate. To show the universal form, Lord Krishna granted his, given him divine vision so that he can see the universal form. Otherwise, it was impossible to see universal form, Virat Roop of Krishna. Although we know that universal form is very terrifying and troublesome, and one cannot see the terrifying universal form. So Arjuna got frightened. His rasa from friendship to turned into fear. So Krishna shows his universal form full of opulences. So Krishna is also known as Shad Aishwarya. Krishna possesses all six opulences, all name, fame, renunciance, all six opulences possessed by Krishna. So Krishna is the owner, Krishna is the enjoyer, Krishna is the reservoir of all six opulences. So when he shows his opulences, demigods and time, Arjuna is very astonished seeing this spectacular vision and offers his prayers. Arjuna got frightened and he started respecting Krishna in true mind. and he has started believing Krishna, that my Krishna, my friend Krishna, is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna is Supreme Father. Lord Krishna possesses 6 opulences. He is known as possessor of Shad Aishwarya, possessor of all 6 opulences. The brilliant, powerful radiance frightens him as it threatens to burn the whole creation. Along with his own soldiers rushing into Krishna's many mouths meeting their death. Arjuna could see that all the envy, all the entire Kaurava army was going into the mouth of Krishna. He was frightened. How it is possible? His friend Krishna, ordinary Krishna, is showing the Virat Roop, and he is showing the Virat Roop that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Arjuna started believing Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. Arjuna is then implored by Krishna to be an instrument for the execution of Krishna's plan in the great fight, and thus be assured of victory. So here, Arjuna is only nimitta matram, savvyasachin nimitta matram. So Lord Krishna is saying, oh Arjuna, all these armies have already been killed by me. Now you become nimitta matram. So Lord Krishna is so merciful that he wants to give entire credit to his devotee Arjuna. So Lord Krishna want to give credit to his devotees, and devotees want to give his credit to Lord Krishna. So devotee and Lord Krishna are made for each other. Okay, this is how Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, takes care of his devotees. Always he wants to give credit to his devotees. Arjuna offers his prayers and obeisances to the Lord, begs Krishna to forgive him for his familiar dealings. Disturbed and horrified by the universal form, he begs Krishna to return back to his two-handed form. So Arjuna was frightened finally, and he requested Krishna that, oh Krishna, I want to see your two-handed form. Upon his request, Krishna turned into four-handed form and further turned into two-handed form. Krishna explains his beautiful two-armed form is inconceivable even to demigods and is beyond the understanding by Vedic study, penance, charity, worship. His transcendental form can be only understood by the process of bhakti. Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna that, oh Arjuna, this my two-handed form is most confidential. Only devotee can see, and that too only by devotional service. No one can else see this two-handed form. So, two-handed form is the original form of Lord Krishna. Without form, without Roop, universal form, although it is transcendental, but it is temporary in this material world, because it possesses the same quality as Prakriti. So whenever it is required, it comes and again it is destroyed. So transcendental form is temporary. Transcendental form, universal form is not permanent form. Permanent form is two-handed form. So Lord Krishna can be seen in two-handed form, and he was very, very merciful towards Arjuna. He gave him the divine vision, and Arjuna could see the entire Virat Roop and what is going to happen in the present, what has happened in the past, and what will happen in the future. Everything was visible in the universal form. Then in chapter 12, we are going to discuss. In chapter 11, we have seen the universal form. In chapter 12, we'll see chapter 12 is about devotional service. Arjuna, being attached to two-handed form, wants to clarify his position. So now Arjuna has understood that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So and two-handed form of Krishna is original Krishna. Other incarnations or other forms comes from two-handed form of Krishna. After hearing and seeing Lord, so inestimable impersonal opulences, Arjuna again wants to hear about devotion. Now, Arjuna is requesting to Krishna that, oh Krishna, please explain me what is devotional service. To clarify his position as a devotee who works for Krishna as opposed to a jnani who renounces work. Those who are devotee of Krishna, they believe in working. And those who are impersonal, they renounce the work. So, Krishna doesn't recommend renouncing work. Krishna recommends renouncing the fruits of the activities. Don't be attached to the fruits of action. Okay, so Lord Krishna shows his universal form, Arjuna's attachment to two fundamentals. So after showing universal form, Arjuna was frightened. That why, oh, I don't want to see universal form. Please come into your original two-handed form. I love two-handed form. Then Krishna came from universal form to four-handed form, then from four-handed form to two-handed form. In chapter 12, we are going to see from 12.1 to 7, Bhakti over impersonalism. Bhakti over impersonalism. 12.8 to 12 talks about progressive stages of devotion, from highest to lowest. From 12.13 to 20, qualities that endear one to Krishna. What are the qualities one should have to attain Krishna? From 12.1 to 7, Bhakti over impersonalism. In Sloka 1 to 2, one who fixed his mind on Krishna, worshipping him with great transcendental faith, is considered more perfect than one who worships the unmanifest, inconceivable, impersonal. So those who they are intelligent, those who are worshipping Arsha Vigraha of Krishna, two-handed form of Krishna, they are very, very intelligent. Then verse number 3 to 5 talks about worshippers of the impersonal make advancement only with great difficulty. So those who are worshipping impersonalism, they will progress very slow. And they may get troublesome path. They may be troubled in between. Then from sloka number 6 to 7, Krishna personally delivers the devotees who are undeviatedly devoted to whom. Okay, so Krishna personally delivers the devotees who are undeviatedly devoted to him. Then comes sloka number 11.54 to 55, concept of bhakti developed in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Okay, essence is the sloka number 9.34. Okay, so concept of bhakti developed in Srimad Bhagavad Gita in sloka number 2.61. In chapter number 2. Then chapter number 3, sloka number 3.30. Then chapter number 4, 4.9. Chapter number 5, 5.29. Chapter number 6, 6.47, 6.30, 6.14 to 15. Chapter number 7, 1 to 14. Chapter number 8, 8.14, 8.5 to 8. Then chapter number 9, 9.34. So 9.34 is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Then in chapter number 10, finally 10.8 to 11. Okay, so chapter number 11, 11.54 to 55. These all slokas in different chapters talks about bhakti. How one can believe what is Bhagavad Gita, what is the relationship between Lord and living entities, how bhakti can be performed, who is Krishna, everything is explained throughout all these chapters. Then we'll see shloka number first, that is 12.1. Arjuna uvacha evam satata yukta ye bhaktastvam paryupasate ye chapi aksharam avyaktam tesam ke yoga vittamam. Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect? Those who are always properly engaged in devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman? Brahman, unmanifested. So impersonal Brahman is unmanifested. Those who are worshipping impersonalism, they don't believe in, they don't have faith in Krishna, in Krishna's form. That Krishna two-handed form is original. So here Arjuna's question is, which is more perfect? Engaging in devotional service or worshippers of the impersonal Brahman? So who is great? The one who is performing devotional service, or the one who has faith in impersonal Brahman? Which is better, personalism or impersonalism? So there are two classes of transcendentalists. Personalist engages himself with all energy in the service of Supreme Personality of God. So all the devotees, those who are performing direct devotional service, comes under personalism. They are personalist. And another category is impersonalist. They engage in meditation on impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested. They believe that Lord is unmanifested and ever unmanifested. Whereas Lord can take birth, Lord can be manifested, Lord can be unmanifested based on the will of Lord. If Krishna wants, he can reveal. If Krishna doesn't wish to reveal, no one can ask him to reveal. What Arjuna thinks of other processes? Worship of the impersonal feature is a waste of time, since one cannot perfectly conceive of the impersonal feature of the absolute truth. So if you are worshipping impersonalism, you are wasting your time simply. Lord himself is saying that if you are worshipping impersonalism, you are wasting your entire time. The personal form of Krishna is best because all other forms could be understood and no disturbance to love for Krishna. Okay, so if you are worshipping personalism, you are bhakta, you are a devotee, because all other forms can be imagined or can be seen only by two-handed form. So devotees love Krishna's two-handed form. Conclusion of every chapter of Bhagavad Gita attached to personal form of Lord. Chapter number 12, living entity is a spiritual spark, absolute truth is a spiritual whole. So living entity is a spiritual spark. So we are like spark, and Krishna is a supreme whole, spiritual whole. So we are part of that whole. Spark is part of the fire. Similarly, we are spark of the whole. That is explained in chapter number 2. In chapter number 6, 6.47 says, Bhakti Yoga is the best of all yogis. Bhakti Yoga is the best of all yogis. Okay, that is in chapter number 6, 6.47 verse. Chapter number 7, living entity is part and parcel of the whole, recommends one to transfer his full attention to the whole. In chapter number 6, 7 talks about that living entities are part and parcel of the whole. Krishna is the supreme whole, and we are all part and parcel of that whole. Okay. Similarly, we can say that this hand is our part of the body. Okay. Separate hand is not part of the body, so it will be useless. Okay. Similarly, we are part and parcel of Krishna, so we should serve Krishna. If we don't serve Krishna, we are useless. Okay, the personal form of Krishna is best because all other forms could be understood and no disturbance to love for Krishna. Then chapter number 8 talks about anyone who thinks of Krishna at the time of death at once goes to the spiritual sky, to the abode of Krishna. So in sloka, in chapter number 8, Lord Krishna says, those who think of Krishna at the time of death, they will get the body with Krishna. Only way to have association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is through devotional service. So Lord Krishna is not achievable, not attainable, not obtainable by any method except devotional service. Whatever kind of meditation you perform, Krishna is unreachable. Okay, so in this way we see that sloka number first, 12.1 talks about there are two types of transcendentalists, that is personalism and impersonalism. So first sloka talks about which is best, personalism or impersonalism. Then sloka number 2. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Mayaveshya Mano Ye Mam Nityayukta Upasate Shraddhaya Paryopetas Te Me Yukta Tamamata. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. So Krishna is saying, those who are worshipping me, those who are in direct relationship with me, they have true love for me. I am always with them. Okay, so Lord Krishna's opinion, those engaged in devotional service are most perfect. So Krishna is saying, those who fix their minds on my personal form. So this two-handed form is my personal form. Those who can see the personal form, two-handed form, they are lucky. Always engaged in worshipping me. Why? Because they can see that I am the God. Two-handed form is God. Worship me with great and transcendental faith. So first component, that is faith, you should have. If you have faith about anything, then only you can work. Similarly, if you have faith in Krishna, you can only worship. So you can worship only if you have faith. Otherwise, there will be sanshaya, and this sanshaya is in the form of demon residing in our heart. So you have to remove this demon by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and then you can enjoy the association of Lord Krishna. Actions in Krishna consciousness activities are not material because everything is done for Krishna. So there is no materialism in the service of Krishna. Everything is for Krishna because they know that everything belongs to Krishna. So what is their harm if one is serving Krishna, serving his Archa Vigraha, okay, doing prasadam seva? So many sevas are available. So if you have faith in Krishna, you can perform devotional service. You can be in direct relationship with Krishna. A pure devotee in full samadhi because of his constant engagement, that is chanter, hears, cooks, shops, washes temple or dishes, etc. So do not waste single moment. Always engage your senses in the service of Krishna. Okay, so if you are thinking about Krishna, it means you are worshipping about Krishna. So you are talking about Krishna, you are thinking about Krishna, you are writing about Krishna. So engage all your limbs in the service of Krishna. So that is the most perfect idea about Lord Krishna, about living entities and the relationship between living entities and Lord Krishna. Then comes sloka number 3 to 4. Sloka number 3 to 4, chapter number 12. Ye tva aksharam anirdeshyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatra gam achintyam cha kutastham achalam dhruvam. Sloka number 4. संयमेन्द्रियग्रामं सर्वत्र समबुद्धयः ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रताः. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone. Such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. Lord Krishna is saying those who worship unmanifested will also reach Krishna eventually and surrender. Okay, so those who worship unmanifested form of Krishna, when Krishna has many forms, out of that one form is unmanifested. So what are the characteristics of impersonal conception of absolute truth? Unmanifested. So impersonalism or impersonalists believe in Krishna's unmanifested form. Okay, they say that there is no form of Krishna beyond sense perception. They say that Krishna is beyond our perception or everyone's perception. Krishna is all pervading. That is true. Krishna is all pervading. Krishna is inconceivable. Krishna is unchanging. Krishna never changes. Okay, so two-handed form of Krishna is the original form. And fixed, it is fixed and it is immovable. So these are the different impersonal conception of absolute truth or about absolute truth. How to worship the unmanifested? By controlling various senses. Okay, so if at all you want to worship Krishna, you have to control your senses by being equally disposed to everyone. Okay, so you have to talk about Krishna to everyone. You have to glorify Krishna to everyone. You have to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. You have to read Bhagavad Gita. You have to read Bhagavatam. You have to read Chaitanya Charitamrita. And there's so many scriptures written by Srila Prabhupada. By engaging in welfare of all, how you can attain Krishna? By engaging in welfare of all. There are so many devotees, so you should have compassion for others so that you can help and you can take help at the same time. So difficult for any common man, much penance involved before the ultimate realization of full surrender takes place. Okay, so when you have faith about Krishna, you will associate with devotee of Krishna, and 101% one day you will associate with Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then comes sloka number 5. Klesodhiktaraste avyaktas saktachetasam avyakta hi gatir dukham dehavadbhir avapyate. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. Okay, so slogan number 5 talks about path of impersonalists is troublesome and very difficult. Okay, so we know that impersonalism is not good. So why and how it is not good, that we are going to discuss in verse number 5. There are two groups of transcendentalists, both ultimately bring to same goal. The goal of impersonalism and personalism is same, that they want to attain Krishna. Okay, so Bhakti yogis, those persons who are in full Krishna consciousness and engage in devotional service of the Lord. So Bhakti yogis are the best yogis. Why? Because they are directly related with Krishna. They are directly doing the service of Krishna. They are directly donating for prasadam. They are directly donating for Krishna seva. They are directly donating for the good cause. Okay, and those who are trying to meditate, their meditation may break sometime. Okay, so that is dangerous. That may be counted as fall down also. So process of bhakti yoga is direct. It is a process of being in direct service with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So bhakti yoga is the direct process. The bhakti yoga accepts the deity of Krishna as worshipable because there is some bodily conception fixed in the mind, which can thus be applied. So Bhakti Yogi knows that Krishna is worshipable. Krishna is Supreme Personal. Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why so Krishna is worshipable? Because Krishna is Supreme. Krishna possesses Shad Aishwarya, so all the 6 opulences. And Jnana Yogis, those who follow the path of inconceivable, unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord. So Jnana Yogis are not better than Bhakti Yogis. The goal of both yogis to attain Krishna, but Jnana Yogis are not best than Bhakti Yogis. So those who follow the path of inconceivable, they are known as Jnana Yogis. Process of Jnana Yoga is very troublesome, very, very troublesome. It is very difficult to simply theoretically understand that one is not this body. Okay, always everyone is attached with their body. Swamitva. Okay, so I am the owner of this body. You can be the owner of this body, but you are not owner of the soul. The soul and super soul both are eternal. Okay, so they take birth, and at the final stage they dwindle, and again they take birth based upon the karma of previous birth. Okay, so this is the sloka number 5. Sloka number 5 talks about path of impersonalist is troublesome and very, very difficult. So what are the difficulties for impersonalist? Practice. They have to understand the unmanifested representation of the Supreme. And process is difficult. Why? Studying the Vedic literatures like Upanishads, learning the language, understanding the non-perceptual feelings. So there are so many things that initially you will not understand. Okay, for that you need to learn certain things. But if you do bhakti, Archa Vigraha Seva, Prasadam Seva, and you are in direct relation with Krishna, Krishna will take care. So what are the realizations for impersonalists? Impersonalists take the risk of practicing difficult path and still do not realize the absolute truth in the ultimate end. Partial realization, they can achieve only Sat and Chit realization. Partial, they can realize only Sat and Chit. They cannot realize bliss. A Jnana Yogi may come to the point of Bhakti Yoga by the grace of devotee. Okay, so if you are doing Sadhu Sangha, Bhakta Sangha, so by the mercy of Bhaktas, you can contact Krishna, you can attain Krishna. Unmanifested realization is against the nature of his spiritual bliss. Okay, so best solution for every individual living entity, the process of Krishna consciousness, which entails full engagement in devotional service. Warning, if one wants to ignore this devotional service, there is the danger of turning to atheism. Okay, so what is the difference point in personalist? We'll see now. So how they practice personalist? Krishna consciousness provides simple practice. Simply chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the Bhakti Yoga in Kali Yuga. Okay, so Kali Yuga people knows that those who are personalists, they are in direct relation with Krishna. Understand the guidance, under the guidance of bona fide spiritual master, simply by offering regulative obeisances unto the deity, hearing the glories of the Lord, eating the remnants of foodstuff offered to the Lord. So those who are eating without offering, they are muchyante sarvakil vishaya. Okay, they are eating only sin. Those who are eating without offering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Lord, they are eating only sin. And realization about the personalist, they have no risk, trouble or difficulty in approaching the Supreme Lord directly. Complete realization, Sat Chit Anand, reference Srimad Bhagavad Gita. If surrender or bhakti is the ultimate goal, then why to take the trouble to understand what is Brahman and what is not Brahman, and spend one's whole life in that way, when the result is anyway going to be troublesome? So these are the realization and practice about impersonalist and personalist. Okay, the path of impersonalist is very difficult and troublesome. Then deity worship is not idol worship. Krishna has incarnated in the form of deity. So deity worship is Supreme Lord worship. Path of impersonalist is troublesome and very, very difficult. So deity worship is not idol worship. For Vedic literatures, worship may be saguna or nirguna of the Supreme, possessing or not possessing attributes. Worship of the deity in the temple is saguna worship, because the Lord is represented by material qualities. The absolute nature of the Lord, the form of the Lord, although represented by material qualities, the like stone, wood, etc., is not actually material. Analogy: deity worship compared to a mailbox. Okay, if you are leaving the letter in wrong mailbox, it will not be posted to the destination. Okay, so if it is authorized box, then only it go to the post office and finally will be delivered to the destination. Okay, so this is the deity worship compared to a mailbox. So you have to worship the perfect deity. Okay, the deity is the authorized representation of God known as Archa Vigraha. So deities are known as Archa Vigraha. So every day you have to do seva for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this way, the sloka number 5, comparison of impersonalist and personalist. So what is impersonalist? Meditate on formless, difficult for embodied. Meditate on form of deity, easy for embodied. Then unmanifested is beyond the senses, restrict the senses. Senses can perceive the deity and sound of mantra, engages the senses. Okay, so in this way, we'll stop over here, and next time we'll see the sloka number 6 to 7. If you have any questions, you can ask. श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्ण।